set up the BTC. So at least one person per location should have received the VC number, and we are about to send the meeting appointment also for that one, so that everybody has the VC number and the connection details for next Monday. So next Monday is going to be an open session for questions, and so that missions can raise their concerns and their questions regarding the write-off process and also KPIs and different reports. Okay. Okay, I can hear some noise in the background. So if you can please mute your microphone. Okay. All right. Let me put this presentation in presentation mode. All right. So this is the first session. First of all, thank you very much for submitting the written exercises. Okay. So far we had 2 different sessions, 2 different WebEx sessions, and so far we sent to you 2 different practical exercises in the training environment. One that was related with the end-to-end process, okay, to create a notification and to write off particular equipment, okay. And last session was dedicated to the delegation of authority, okay, and we sent to all of you a practical exercise to calculate the depreciated values of different type of items, including fixed assets, equipment, and expendables. Okay, so you should all complete these exercises in order to complete this course. So even though, for example, for exercise 1, even though the deadline was already expired, so we encourage everybody to submit all the practical exercises, including also the teach back exercise, and to send it back to us because we really reinforce the importance of the practical exercises in the system. Okay. All right. So let's start, and let's reinforce or summarize what we reviewed during last WebEx session. Okay. So what did we see last week? Okay. Sorry, last week. No, it was Tuesday. It seems last week, but it was in fact last Tuesday. So last Tuesday WebEx session, we discussed about the delegation of authority, okay, and how by using the different thresholds, how we classified the different write-off cases as per the DOA. Okay, so remember, for depreciated values below 3,000, okay, so 3,000 or less, then the write-off case could be reviewed and approved by the designated authority, right, by the designated official or CMS DMS in the missions. That we are talking here about the normal disposal methods, right? So for 3,000 or less, the write-off case could be classified as the designated authority. Then between 3,000 and 25,000, the write-off case should be reviewed and approved by the local property survey board. And if the depreciated value of the item being written off is above 25,000, the write-off case should be reviewed and approved by the HPSP. Okay, and that applies to normal disposal methods. Remember that for exceptional disposal methods, even though the only difference, for example, these exceptional disposal methods like gift or sale at a nominative price, all cases under 25,000 will have to be reviewed by the LPSP, right? So that will be for exceptional disposal methods. Okay. So in order to calculate the depreciated values, and remember that these depreciated values is used to classify the write-off cases, we need to understand what kind of item we are writing off. So for fixed assets, okay, we were using, and in the practical exercise, you were using I03 or even AS03 to get the asset number, and from the asset master record, you were able to calculate the depreciated value as per Ipsos standard, right, based on the acquisition value and the straight line depreciation scheme based in Ipsos. Okay, for non-fixed asset equipment, you were we showed you last session that there is an Excel tool to calculate the depreciated value for non-fixed asset, and you need, in order to populate the Excel tool, you need to use the information available in the equipment master record. Especially, you need the material group and the acquisition value and year. Okay, so you need to understand what kind of material you are talking about, right? The material group, and then what was the value of that equipment in the PO, and then in which year was that equipment acquired. And for expendables, we said that the depreciated value corresponds to the moving average price for that material in that plant, and we could use the MM60 T code in order to get the moving average price for that material. Okay, so that was about how to calculate the depreciated values. Then we also discussed about the return to stock process, and we mentioned that there is a need for a reservation with movement type Set01, right? This is going to be normally the movement type used in relation to write-off cases to return to stock equipment that have been used already, and they need to be written off. That in the put away process, there are disposal areas, either as storage types or storage section in the warehouse, to physically group all the equipment that are being written off. So this is what we call in the warehouse the disposal area, and has to be considered when putting away those materials in the warehouse. And then regarding the physical count in the warehouse, that we said it could also trigger write-off cases. So if a count is initiated and differences are found in the warehouse, if we are talking about serialized items, that will always trigger write-off notification. But if we are talking about expendables, remember that as per the centralized warehouse operations manual, only if the discrepancy is above 2% or above $250, then there is a need to open a write-off notification. Okay, and this is something that in the practical exercise that most of you got confused. Okay, so in the practical exercise, for those of you who haven't reviewed the practical exercise, we were asking you to calculate the depreciated value for a fixed asset, for non-fixed asset, and for expendables. Remember that for expendables, if the difference, right, if the amount of the expendables to be written off is below $250 or 2% of the total stock value, then there is no need to open a write-off notification case, and differences can be cleared without a write-off case. That's only for expendables. Okay. And what else did we say about the physical count? That we said that the differences are cleared in two steps, right? There is clearing step in the warehouse, that this clearing in the warehouse was the step that was unblocking the involved bins. And the second step that clears the inventory part, right? That clears the inventory, reduces the inventory, has to be executed only when the right of case has been approved. So between the clearing step in the warehouse and the clearing step in the inventory, there is a need to initiate a right of case and get that right of case approved. Okay. All right. Okay. So this is what we discussed last week. So we encourage everybody to complete the practical exercise to really reinforce how to calculate the depreciated values for each type of item. And from the 6 or 7 exercises we have received, we've seen that most of that is correct. We've only seen problems with the expendables. Okay. So let me show to you the practical exercise. So this is the practical exercise, and we are asking you to calculate the depreciated value and to categorize the right of case accordingly for different materials. So one is a fixed asset, another one is an equipment, and then we have 2 expendable materials. Okay. So for these 2 expendable materials, remember that the depreciated value to be considered to classify the right of case has to be the MAP, right, the moving average price of that material in that plant, and then you have to multiply it by the number of items that are missing. Okay. So for example, if the moving average price for the material is $1, then the depreciated value for that difference would be 500 multiplied by the moving average price of that material in that plant. Okay, so take that into account when categorizing the right of case. Okay, all right. So let's move ahead in our presentation. So today's session, it's mainly dedicated to quality checks and how to perform those quality checks in the system. Okay. I just connected 2-3 minutes late on time because I had problems with my production connectivity in Umoja. So give me 1 minute because I'm going to try to change my seat to one that is working. So please bear with me 1 minute only, okay, and we'll try to fix it. So sorry about that. Okay, I'm going to try to move to the other side. So please, Cass, Kirill, if you want to add anything while we change our seats, so feel free to add anything. Okay. Thanks, Cass and Kirill.
Sure. I mean, maybe we can. If there's any, let me open up the chat. If there's any questions or something you could address in these few minutes. Just make sure you send it to everybody, host, presenter, and panelists.
All right. So now I changed to Saida's place. Okay, I hope that you can hear me again. All right. Share. Okay. All right. Okay, let me see. Okay. All right. So I think that now I have access to production list. Okay, so let me also go back to the presentation. Sorry about the this technical problem. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, so I think that you can see my screen. So the first quality check that I wanted to show to you is the first one showing in my screen. Okay. So all right. Okay. So let's say that so far we have already talked about the different items that appear in our write-off. Okay, so we have, in case we are writing off an asset or an equipment, we have an asset master record involved. Okay, then an equipment that is also involved, and a notification. Okay, so for example, if we want to perform quality checks related to fixed assets, okay, then we need to start checking the asset master record. Okay, and also afterwards we need to check the equipment master record. Okay, so if we want to check asset master records that have been deactivated without corresponding notification, okay, then we can make use of different reports to really understand what's the different status. So basically, we are going to be using 3 different reports in the system. So we are going to be using set AAVALAS to report on fixed assets. Okay, so with this T code, we can report on fixed assets. Okay, and we can see how many of them have been derecognized. Okay, and then based on the information that we get from this Zabalas T code, we can then drill down and understand what's the write-off notification that is linked to that equipment by using IH08. Right? Okay, so let's try to do that in production, because I think it's going to be easier if we try to do it in production. Okay, so let me go back and let me try to use the first report that I was mentioning. This ZAAVALAS is the report we can use to check asset master records. Okay, remember that in the asset master record is where we can see if the equipment has been deactivated or not. Okay, in order to check for deactivated fixed asset master records, we can use in the dynamic selections, we can use the deactivation date. Okay, so by using the deactivation date, right, we can see how many fixed assets have been deactivated in a particular period. Okay, so we are using different reports, and we are showing you particular scenarios. Okay, so then you can play around with these T codes, with the Zabalas or IH08, to build your own reports and to do your own quality checks. Okay, so for example, if we want to check how many fixed assets have been deactivated lately, okay, so we can specify a particular date, or we can specify a range of dates. So we want to check how many fixed asset master records have been deactivated in the last month, from the 1st of August. So we can say, for example, from the 1st of August until the end of this month. Okay. All right. Okay, so I put wrongly the date. Okay. So I have already indicated when I wanted this fixed asset to, so which are the deactivation dates I wanted in the report. And then we can also check for a particular business area. So you will do it for your own mission. And as a business area, I can use one of the missions. Okay, let's say, for example, I can use MONUSCO as a business area. So I can use search for your own business area. And if I run this report, I will get all the different fixed assets that have been deactivated for MONUSCO in that period. Okay, so I'm running the first part. So I'm using Zabalas to get all the different assets that have been derecognized. And for that, I'm using the deactivated on field. Okay, so I got four different fixed assets. So each line corresponds to one fixed asset. And as you know, each fixed asset is related to an equipment master record. So in this column, you can see the equipment master record. And you will, if we scroll to the right, we will be able to see the capitalization date and the deactivation date. So all the fixed assets were deactivated, 3 of them beginning of August and the other one on the 17th. So if I want to check if all these 4 fixed assets have been included in write of notification, so how can I do that? So in the fixed asset, I cannot see the related write of notification. Remember that the write of notification, it's appearing at the equipment master record level. Okay. So in the equipment master record level is where we can see if the fixed asset will have a related notification. So I'm going to open a new session, and now I want to report on the equipment. So in order to report on the equipment level, I can use IH08 in order to get the related write of notifications. So I can use IH08, okay, and with the IH08, I have here the list of equipment. So these are my 4 equipment numbers that I can copy, and I can put them as equipment, right? So here I have the equipment numbers. I can paste and do a multiple selection of these 4 items. And if I run the this equipment report, I will see details about the 4 equipment master records. So these 4 equipment master records, I can see, yep, if I scroll to the right, I will be able to see the materials also, okay, and even the user status. So the first thing that is a little bit shocking is that one of them corresponds to a non-fixed asset material, right? So normally fixed assets start with the 21. In this one, we have one of them that belongs to a 15 material. But then if we check on the user status, okay, here we have the asset number that we also got it from Zabala's report. In the user status, I can see the that the 4 equipments have been inactivated. I can see the inactive system status, and I can see in the user status I can see the disposal method, right? So this corresponds to disposal methods. If I'm not mistaken, they refer to the cannibalization disposal method and scrap. But we can also check, you know how to check, right, the disposal methods by using the equipment master record, right? So in here, if we use any of the equipment numbers, okay, if we use any of the equipment numbers, we will be able to see which are the different user statuses. So in here, this is one of the equipments. If we go to the status, we will get the description, right, of each status. So EQCV means cannibalization, okay? And the other one that we showed for the last equipment, this SCRP, belongs to or corresponds to scrap as is, right? This disposal method as scrap. Okay. What's important in here? So in the equipment master record is where we have the reference to the notification. So if we change the layout, we can add the notification number. So in the column set, right, we can look for the field where we have the notification number, that is the inventory number. So in this field, in the equipment master record, and you have been practicing that during the first exercise, is where you have to include the reference to the notification when the notification or when the equipment is set to write-off in process. Okay, so we can include this inventory number, and now it's going to be displayed in our report. We can change the order of the columns, and let's try to put it between user status and system status. Okay, and we accept the changes, and we will be able to see that now we can see as inventory number the notifications number related to those equipment. Okay, so now we have checked the second part of the quality check. So we have checked that at least there is a notification number related to that equipment, but we still need to check that that notification is a write-off notification, because that notification could be any type. It could be a notification related to an assignment or related to maintenance process of that equipment. Okay. So if we want to check the type of notification for that for those numbers, we can use the IW59 report. Okay. So I'm showing you. In the end, we are going to play always with these three different reports: sub-alias for fixed asset master record, IH08 for equipment master record, and IW59 for notifications. So with this IW59, you're going to be able to report on notifications. So this notification number that appear as inventory, you can use them in the IW59. So with the IW59, you can report on service notifications, including the ones used for write-off. Okay, so we can select that the notifications can be in any status. So what we have here is the different notification number. So these 4 notification numbers are the ones that I want to check the status for. I can copy those notification numbers and use them as notification number, as multiple selection. Okay, and then just by using this key field, the notification number, I can run the report, execute it, and I will see that the notifications, all of them, all 4 are write-off notifications. They are PW type. Okay, and even we can see the status of the notification, right? So we can see that the notification has been completed, and the system status, so even the completion indicator has been settled for that notification. So with this report, with the IW59 report, we can see that the notification is of the type it's supposed to be, and also that the status is correct. It reflects the status of the fixed asset, okay? Because the fixed asset was derecognized, and the user status of the notification has to be consistent with that. Okay. So we have used sub-alas to get the list of fixed assets that have been deactivated, IH08 to get the notification number related to those fixed assets, and then IW59 to get the notification type. So with these three reports, we can perform a quality check in our missions to get or to check that all the assets that have been activated have at least a notification related to it, and the notification is in the proper status. Okay. The second quality check, it's very similar. So if you see the description, asset has been deactivated, but the right of notification has not been approved. Okay, so we are using the same reports to get assets deactivated. So the same thing we've done before. Okay, the same IH08 to get the list of equipment and the related notification number. Okay, and then in the IW59, we are getting that the notification is the same type, and then we need to check the notification status. So if we reach at the last step, the service notification, and we see that the notification status is a different one, for example, if we go to this notification, we open it, and we check that the status, instead of the disposal completed, it's still request approved, then we have a problem, because the fixed asset was deactivated, it was completely derecognized, but still the related notification hasn't been fully approved. So the notification status should be at least review approved, right? It should be either REWA or disposal in process or disposal completed. So in order to deactivate or to derecognize a fixed asset, we need a related notification, right? And the status of the notification has to be either review approved, either disposal in process, or either disposal completed. Okay? So if we find out that the notification status is not any of those three, then we have a problem, because the fixed asset has been deactivated. So from the financial books, it has been derecognized, the fixed asset, but the right of case is not flagged as approved. Okay. All right. So what I'm showing here is that with these three different reports, sub-alas, IH08 and IW59, you can build your own quality checks. So I'm just showing to you some of the common quality checks that you can perform. Okay, and the practical exercise in this case is going to be also do these quality checks for your mission, so that you know how to relate the fixed asset master record with the equipment to get the notification, and then run reports on the notifications to get the notification type and the notification status. Okay. Let's show to you a different example of quality checks. So another quality check you can run would be to report on right of notifications, okay, that have been approved, but the asset has not been derecognized yet, right? So remember that after the notification is approved, then the fixed asset, the FA15, right, can derecognize the fixed asset. Okay. We are going to be using the same reports, but in a different order, right? So we are going to start running IW59 to get all the notifications that have been approved. Okay. So let me start with the notifications. So I can use this IW59 report. Right, let me start from the beginning. IW59, and what I want to do, I want to get all the notifications that have been approved, and then to check if the related fixed asset has been derecognized or not. So I can see for all the notifications, I can filter by my plant. Okay, so I can use the planning plant, okay, of the notification. All right. Okay. So I can use CD10 as planning plant for if I want to check for all my notifications, and then I can use the created on in the notification to, for example, filter for all the notifications that were created, let's say, in the second half of August. Okay, so I don't want to get a long list, so I'm going to check only for those that have been created in the second half of August. Okay, you can build your own filters. Okay, so with this, I'm going to get all the different notifications for my plant that were created on those dates. I'm going to run the report, and in here I will be able to see the different notifications. Sorry, I need to also filter by notification type. So I want to check only for those related to write-off. So I can filter by PW notifications, right? I can run it. I will get only those that have to do with write-off cases. And I can do that by filtering by notification type. Okay. And then in the user status, right? So we said that the notification has been approved if the notification status it's either reviewed approved, disposal in process, or disposal completed. Okay, and that's the user status for that notification. So I can use that filter in here, right? So I can set a filter and indicate the different values I want to look for. So I can include here reviewed, approved, disposal in process, right, and disposal completed. Okay, and disposal completed. If I want to filter only for those in approved status, so I can see that this list of notifications are all in reviewed approved, right? So all these notifications have been approved, and the fixed asset should have the could be derecognized. So after the notification has been approved, then I could check if the fixed asset has been derecognized or not. So how can I check for those? So in the equipment, right? So in this notification, what I can do, I can check for all the equipments that are related with those notifications. So how can I check which equipments are related with those notifications? Same thing as we were doing before. So I can run the IH08 And in the inventory number is where I will have the notification number. Okay, so in this inventory number is where the equipment is related to with a notification. Okay, so I can use this inventory number, paste the notifications, okay, and run the report, and I will get the equipment numbers. I will get the equipment numbers that are related to those notifications, and this is what is explained here. So with IH08, I can get the equipment and therefore the asset numbers related to those notifications by filtering on the inventory number field. Okay, so I'm running those reports. Okay, and the system will display the different equipment master records that are related to those notifications. Okay, so you can also make use of the, I don't know if you are using the chat and the Q&A. So Saida is saying that so far nothing. I hope that you are connected. Today I cannot see the interaction that much because I just changed my seat and I cannot see nothing, right? Okay. From HQ, maybe Kirill, Cass, any quality check that you want to reinforce. I mean, we are showing the tools, basically the different reports available. Okay, the IW59 to report on notifications, IH08 to report on equipment, and then get the related assets and the related notifications, and then Zabalas to report on fixed asset master records. Okay, so these three quality checks that we have shown as an example are only examples, okay, that you can run your own, and based on also on the feedback that you get from HQ, you can use these reports to perform your own checks. Okay.
Alejandro, hello?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes,
just one more thing I want to highlight is to make sure that they're checking for duplicate notifications for one asset. I don't know if you'll get to that. So having multiple write-off notifications for one case, for one asset.
Yeah. Okay, so having multiple notifications for unique asset. Okay, so
yeah.
we can also show how to do that. Okay. All right. So let's show. So let's go through the different quality checks. Okay, and I'll also reinforce or explain how to do that, also using the same kind of reports available. So thank you, Sega. Okay. So we'll talk about that, how to check for duplicated notifications for the same asset. Okay, so while we summarize the different objects and the different reports. Okay, thank you, Sega. Okay, so let's see. All right, so now we were checking for the equipment master records. So we got the equipment master records. So we got the notifications that were fully approved. Okay, and here we have the equipment items that are related to those notifications. Okay, the equipment we can see in the status if they have been deactivated or not. So even though the notifications were fully approved, we can see that the status of the equipment is still active. So none of them have been deactivated, even though the related notifications, we've seen that they are all reviewed approved. Okay, so after they are disposal completed, right, the equipment will be deactivated. Right? And here we have the fixed asset number. So we can see that all the equipment relate to a fixed asset master record. And by using this fixed asset master record, we will be able to see if the fixed asset master record was derecognized or not. And in order to do that, we can use the Zabalas, right? This set AAVALS this report to display the fixed asset master records. So we can use that one, okay, the fixed asset master record report. And in this case, we have the numbers, so we don't need to include as filter anything else. Okay, we can remove the dates, because in this case, we already have the list of fixed assets that we want to get the information from, and we can use them as asset numbers. Okay, we can use the multiple selection and include the fixed asset numbers. So here we have pasted the asset numbers. We can select those, and we can click on execute to get the details of all the asset numbers that are related to those approved notifications. So here we have the different asset master records with the asset description, and if we scroll to the right, we will be able to see if the equipment has been deactivated. Sorry, if the fixed asset has been deactivated or not. So in the deactivation on, in this date, we will see a date if the fixed asset has been derecognized or not. All right, so none of them have been derecognized, so it's still in the pending tasks of the fixed asset accountant to deactivate those fixed assets. So the notification has been reviewed and approved by the designated authority, okay, but the fixed asset hasn't been haven't been deactivated yet, right? So we have write-on notifications that are approved, but the asset are still pending the recognition, and we have checked that by using again the same reports. Okay. Hope you are getting familiar with the different reports. Let me show to you the summary, okay, of the different. So we are basically reporting on different objects. So we are reporting on notifications by using the IW59 report, okay. Then by using the IH0A report, we are reporting on the equipment master record. And remember that in the equipment master record, we are especially paying attention to the inventory number field to get the related notification. So in IH08, if we look for the inventory number field, is where we will be able to get the related notification. And remember that this inventory number field is where we manually, as a disposal planner or as a notification user, sorry, in the equipment as equipment master data maintainer, is where we manually include the related notification. Okay. Also in the equipment master record, we have a field that is the asset field, where in case the equipment is a fixed asset, we will get the asset number for that fixed asset, and we can run reports on fixed asset by using the Savalas report. Okay. And there is another report that is appearing here below, that if you want to get the depreciated values for fixed asset, you can also use this report. But basically, in the quality checks related to write-off, we normally use Savalas in order to get if the fixed asset was deactivated or not, and to get the status, okay, of the fixed asset. So coming back to the point that Sega raised regarding the checking for notifications. So Saida is saying that the sound is not that that clear. What about the others? Can you hear me properly? No? Can you still hear me, or maybe the noise it's okay? Thank you, Vikram. Thank you, Vikram. All right, so let's see if it goes a little bit better for the others. Okay, thank you, George. So we might continue. I think both Ikram and George, they say that they could hear me properly. All right. So coming back to Sega's point on how to check that fixed asset hasn't been included in two different notifications. Okay. So if we want to check for notifications, we can run IW59. Okay. But in the case of fixed assets, okay, we know that notifications are only related to one fixed asset, right? So if we look at a notification, right, if we go back to our list of notifications and we open one of them, okay, so in the case of fixed asset, we always know that the notification is only related with one fixed asset. Okay, for other non-fixed assets, we have the problem of, or we have a different approach because one notification can be linked to several equipment, right? But for fixed assets, we always know that the notification is always linked to a unique equipment, okay? And therefore, we can get the equipment number and the fixed asset number directly from the notification. So by using the IW59, okay, we can check for write-off notifications, okay, that we can even set other filters, like for example, if we want to check for all the notifications in a particular period, okay, and also in a particular plant, we already set up MONUSCO as a planning plant, and then we can run this report to get the different notifications, okay, the different write-off notifications. Okay, so if we run the report, we will be able to see that some notifications relate to fixed assets, okay, and some of them don't. Okay, so if you want to see only those that relate to fixed assets, you can just exclude the ones that are not, that don't have an asset master record here, right, Sega? So all the notifications having here a notification number, sorry, an asset number, will be those that relate to a fixed asset. Okay, Sega? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. That's right.
All right, so we could filter out those having blank here as a fixed asset, so we can remove those that are blank. Okay, so I'm going to exclude all the ones, sorry, I'm going to exclude all the ones that are blank. Okay. So now I only see those notifications related to fixed asset, and then in here, what Sega was mentioning is that you shouldn't be having a repeating number, right? So one asset should only be related to a notification. So you can do that. I mean, if something was repeated, you will see here a repeated number, or you can export it and look for duplicates, okay? But one asset should only have one notification. So one asset, one notification, and one asset shouldn't be linked to two different notifications, okay? And the same thing applies to a notification, because only for fixed asset, notification should only be linked to one equipment. All right. So we are using IW59 to report on notifications and to see for the related fixed asset. Okay. So any other way on how to check for notifications if a fixed asset is related to two different ones? Okay, so I reported on the notifications, then indicated those that are related to fixed asset, and in here they should be able to export the list and look for duplicate values. Okay. Anything to add there, Sega?
No, that's all. That's good.
Okay.
You got the point across.
Okay, thanks, Sega. We have a question from Mustafa about what's the difference between IW59 and IW58. Okay, so if you see here, the naming for this report is to display service notifications. So if you run IW58, that will be very similar, but it will be you will be able to you can see that the name is a little bit different. So it's IW58 is to change. Okay, so it's to perform mass changes on notification. So if you are only running reports to perform quality checks without wanting to change a notification, you should be using IW59. Okay, so with IW59 you will always be in display mode. With IW58, when you drill down to a notification, it will automatically be in change mode. Okay, that's basically the difference between IW59 and IW58. Okay. All right. So in the practical exercise, you will be using these reports to perform the quality checks of your own mission and to look for assets that have been recognized with a proper notification and so on. Okay, so basically we are always using the same reports to check for wrong statuses, right? For example, approved, or maybe, for example, deactivated equipment without a proper notification. Okay, so if you see that an equipment has been deactivated and then you don't see a related notification, that could be weird, right? So, for example, if we want to run on equipments, right, we could use IH08 to report on equipments. Let's say that we want, as always, to report on equipments in MONUSCO, okay? And if we want to check for deactivated equipments, we could use the deactivated equipments in the statuses, right? So if the status should be inactive, right? So in the statuses, when we deactivate an equipment, we mark that equipment as inactive, as object deactivated. Okay. So that would report on all the deactivated equipments for a particular plant. Let's filter also, because otherwise we will get a lot of equipments in MONUSCO. So let's also filter that by change date, okay, so that we don't get that many. All right, so changed on, let's say that we want to see only those that have been changed this month, okay. All right, so until the 10th of September, and we will get all the equipments that have been changed lately that are in inactive status for MONUSCO. Okay, we will get the different equipment master records, and all of them should have a related notification, right? So if the equipment is inactive, all of them should have a related right of notification. Otherwise, the equipment was deactivated without a related notification. And we said that in order to initiate the right of an equipment, everything should be done through a notification and get the approval. So what I'm doing, I'm listing the equipment. Let's see if I get the answer, if I get the response from the system. So basically, I have run AH08 to check for equipments that are in inactive status for MONUSCO and that have been updated recently. Okay. Let's wait for a couple of seconds. Any other question or comment from? Okay. All right. Regarding the recordings, because I've seen some questions regarding the recordings for the past sessions. We are sending the recorded session in WebEx, but also remember that we have our YouTube page where we also include all the recordings. So you have problems playing the WebEx recording, just go to our YouTube page that you have also the link in the email we sent, and there you will be able to see the two past sessions, the recording for the two past sessions. Okay. So here we have the list of equipment. Okay, we can see that all relate to MONUSCO as a plant, and we can see that we should be able to see that all of them are in inactive status. Okay, we can see that the status of all of them, because we have filtered, the status is inactive, right? We could even check that it makes sense, the user status and the system status. So if the equipment is inactive, it means that the user status should be disposal complete and the disposal method, right? So if we order by equipment status, okay, this disposal method, this cannibalization, it makes sense, right? So it relates to an equipment inactive. And what's most important is that this equipment should always have a related notification, right? So where can we get the notification number? We said that the notification number is in the equipment master record and appearing as inventory number field. And we can display that by changing the layout and getting the inventory number field in there. So in the inventory number field, we can move it to the displayed columns, right? In here, we can move it up to make it closer to the user status. Okay, let's display it. And now we should be able to see the related notifications. So at least we can see that at least the first ones, have a related notification. We could, by using IW59, we could see what is the type of those notifications. It should be PW, and also that the notification status is consistent, right? But at least we can see that there is a notification number. So we can see for each equipment master record, we can see that we have a related notification. Okay. So we can see that all of them have a related notification, at least in there. And then with IW59, we should check that the notification has PW type and that the status is consistent with the equipment being inactive. Okay. So up to now, we have been talking about mainly quality checks by using these reports. I also wanted to show to you, we have a question about, yeah, okay, all right. Okay, so we have a question about serialization profile, if it's possible to check for the serialization profile of several items to check if they are serialized or not, right? So we said in the previous session, we said that by using MM03, right? By using MM03, you can check for the serialization profile, but that's done one by one. If you want to check for several items, I don't know if you can do it with the MM60 or not. Maybe Sega, you have an answer for that. Otherwise, we'll leave the question. I think that question also came last session. Remember that we are compiling the questions, and we are able to provide you with an answer.
You're breaking up a little bit.
Yeah. Sorry,
you're breaking up a little bit, but I don't know if you can hear me. But there's
yeah,
no
I can hear you,
report. Okay, so there's no report that we can use to see the serialization profile of multiple material.
Yeah.
So you will have to drill down and look at the go to MM03 and look at it.
MM03 and one by one, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I think So we will also have a look at the questions, and we'll also provide a written answer to your questions, because I think that one also came last session. So before the Q&A session we have scheduled for Monday, we'll provide to you with the written answer for all your questions. Okay. So besides the quality checks, what else we wanted to show to you? It's the different reports and the KPIs available in BI. Okay, I know that you had a session specifically targeting the BI reports. Okay, and we wanted to reinforce, okay, or to go through the two BI reports that are related to the write-off. Okay, that relates to the write-off process. Okay, so specifically we have report number 6 and also a report that will be shown in the next slide that relate to the write-off backlog. Okay, so specifically report number 6, okay, deals with the fixed assets, right? Deals with the property and equipment that is in the write-off process, and is trying to measure that the fixed assets are recognized as soon as possible. Okay, so that the fixed assets are recognized as soon as possible from the moment the write-off case is initiated. Okay. Remember that the target is that the fixed asset undergoing write-off must be completed within 30 days, okay, so that we don't get fixed assets depreciated while we wait for the fixed asset to be recognized. Remember that fixed asset gets depreciated on a monthly basis, and delaying the recognition will also impact the asset valuation and the financial books. Okay. So in this BI report is where we will be able to see all those fixed assets that are waiting for the recognition for more than 30 days, and especially we will be paying attention to the net book value of each fixed asset. Okay, and the date that will be considered as an initiation for the write-off case will be the date the equipment was changed with status write-off in process. Remember that there was a step in the write-off process to change the equipment status to WRPR. So we are changing the equipment into write-off in process, indicating that that equipment is in the process of being written off. And based on that date, the date the equipment is changed, the BI report will show you for each mission, for each business area, how many fixed assets are waiting more than 30 days to be recognized, and how many fixed assets have been derecognized within 30 days. Okay, so how many fixed assets the write-off was initiated less than 30 days ago. Okay, so especially we are paying attention to the net book value of those fixed assets with a write-off date over 30 days, and what we calculate is the percentage of those above 30 days compared to the total net book value for all the different fixed assets. Okay, so remember that everything you do in the write-off process will have also an impact in how the BI results for the write-off process will be calculated. Okay, so by the moment you change the equipment to write-off in process, the date, or it will start the counting for the recognition of the fixed asset. Okay. All right. So in here, right, we are talking about mainly fixed assets in this report 06, and remember that you also have a specific job aid for each of the reports, and you have them available in production. Okay, so this is report 06, and then the other one we have related to the write-off process is report 18, the disposal backlog. Okay, and it serves to monitor the disposal activities to indicate the time that the disposal process for each equipment, to monitor the time that it takes to perform the disposal of each equipment. Okay. So specifically, we have the ratio of serialized items that are being written off. Okay. For more than 180 days. Okay. Over a total number of serialized items waiting for disposal. Okay, so in this report we have two different tabs, one considering commercial sale as disposal method and the other one for non-commercial sale, and we will be able to see by business area total approved items, meaning that the disposal can happen after the approval has been done, and then we have how many of them have been completed within that period, within or with less than 180 days, and how many of them are have been processed within more than 180 days. Okay, and we have the numbers and also the percentages for each business area. So with this report, we are mainly measuring the disposal activities. So from the moment we have the approval for the write-off case, how long it takes to dispose the equipment for commercial sale and for non-commercial. You know that for commercial sale, normally it takes much longer, the sale process. The sale disposal method takes much longer compared to other disposal methods like scrap or cannibalization. Okay, that's why in the report we are differentiating between commercial sale and other disposal methods. Okay. So these are the two BI reports, the report 06 and report 18, that relates to the write-off process. And so please, I think you had a specific sessions on them, but now that we have gone through the write-off process again, I think the criteria and also the data you get from these reports will be more meaningful, because you will understand when the status of the equipment is changed, how the system calculates the depreciation for fixed assets, also the disposal methods, how they are taken into consideration, because it's they are updated in the equipment master record. Remember, the disposal method is updated in the equipment master record, and then the status of the write-off case, it's appearing in the notification. So everything you do, and that's why it's very important that you make sure that the statuses of notification and the status of the equipment are consistent, and the same thing for the fixed assets. Okay, so we reinforce the importance of checking also these BI reports. So last thing we wanted to talk about today was about how to cancel or delete a notification, and this has to do with also with what Sega mentioned before. For example, we said that the write-off of a fixed asset shouldn't be included in several notifications. Okay, so there should only be one. So what happens if you realized that a duplicate notification was raised for the same case? Okay, so you find out that one notification was raised as a duplicate, then is where the cancel and delete functionality comes available, and it makes sense to cancel or delete the duplicated one. So if you find out that a notification was wrongly raised for a duplicate write-off case, or it was raised with a wrong notification type, we have seen that in the practical exercises, some of you raised the notification, but you selected the wrong notification type. Remember that write-off notification should always be PW. Some of you raised it with the P1. Okay, P1 it's for assignment, but not all write-off notifications should always be of type PW. So if you need to cancel or you need to delete the notification, you can make use of the change notification T code, the IW52. If you know the notification number, right? You can also run IW59 T code, okay, to look for the notification, all right? And once you are in change mode in the notification, you will use the service notification menu, and in the functions folder, you will be able to set the deletion flag as on. So by setting the deletion flag, you will see that the notification status will have a new status marking that the notification was deleted, and the deleted status for the notification is shown as DLFL, right? So the notification is marked as deleted when in the system, sorry, in the notification status, it shows as DLFL. So if you found out that a notification it's a duplicate or it's wrongly raised, okay, with a wrong notification type, you can use this deletion flag to delete it or to mark it as deleted. Okay, you will be able still to report on those, but in the notification status, you will be able to see that this status is deleted. Okay, even if you go to the if you run IW59, okay, you will be able to see in the status that there is one status for deleted. Okay, this DLFL will give you or will retrieve all the notifications that have been marked as deleted. Okay, so with this IW59, you can report on deleted notification on by any other notification status. Okay. All right. So that was everything I wanted to mention in today's session. Okay. Please feel free to ask questions or to post comments. All right. So Remember that we mentioned before, but we will have a Q&A session for next Monday regarding the write-off process. And remember to submit all your practical exercises, even if you didn't comply with the deadline. So submitting practical exercises is mandatory for to get the certificate, not only the assessment. So we will also share the final assessment with all of you by the end of next week or early next week, so that you can also take the assessment. But the practical exercises are the best way to gain all the practical knowledge we have shown to you during these sessions. Okay. All right. So questions, comments, feel free to. Okay. I think that people are still using the chat and the Q&A. We will collect also all the comments. Anything else, Sega, Kirill, Cass, Rafael, that you wanted to add or you wanted to reinforce?
No, I did notice that Rafael made some good points. He wrote points in the chat earlier.
Thank you, Rafael. Sorry, I didn't have time to review them, so thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's all.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, yeah. All right, so we'll also collect questions and also the very good replies from Rafael in the Q&A document. Okay, so do that so that you have all of them in writing in a single document. So the questions coming from the 3 different WebEx sessions, and I think we can close this session. We will leave the chat open for 5 minutes more in case you want to write anything else. But from our end, if you have any more questions or comments. Okay. All right. Yeah, just so we got your question about the obsolete expendables. So we'll try to discuss about that one, and we'll provide to you with an answer in writing. So I'm going to mute myself. So thank you very much for attending, and we'll see each other again on Monday. Okay, during the BTC for questions, answers, and open issues. Right? Thank you very much.
Thank you.